sponsorship. And I don't know who we have here from TERP, but I just wanted to give a quick ability for them to just say, whatever they want to say about their company or whatnot, and the same for Bombard. So who do we have from TERP here?
Oh, Lee, I'm on. It's Jim Beckley.
Hey, Jim, there you are. Okay, sorry, my screen. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, no, just glad to be able to go ahead and help out. Glad to be able to support AIA. Glad to be able to support my long-term friend and client, James, and BWA. And just glad to be a part of everything through these trying times. And here's looking forward to hopefully an uptick in 2021. Let's get through 2020 first, right?
Oh, God. Let's get to the finish line. Yeah. Thanks, Jim. How about from Bombard Electric? Who do we have? Do we have someone stalking in the background? Okay, well, if they jump back on, maybe towards the end, they could say something. Randy did a great job kind of articulating what we want to accomplish for today. James and I, as I do with all the architects prior, we have a kickoff call to say, hey, what do we want to get accomplished? Where do we want to kind of go? And I got to give credit where credit is due. And James really said, I'm excited about this one. And I'm excited about it because it gives me the opportunity to really talk to the allied members and engage with them from the standpoint of coming into his presidency. So I think it's an absolute timely event. And with that, James, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Lee. And really, I want to thank you so much for what you've done. And I know Anna's on here too. And, Anna was the first allied director I got to meet when I started on the board 3 years ago. And, obviously we had to make some pivots and change this year with the pandemic. And I think the Coffee with an Architect was a great series. And hopefully we're looking to continue it obviously into next year. And, virtual to start, but then hopefully it'll be in person as we move forward long-term down the road. So Lee and I got to talking about, what hopefully you guys want to hear and what your questions are. And really kind of wanted to give you where I feel things are going or where we're heading right now in kind of the hospitality market. Obviously with Bergman Walls and Associates, we are hospitality casino focused, and we have since March had some rough times. A lot of the projects that went on hold and kind of shut down for a time period. There were things that were in the final phases of construction that did wrap up and waited for environments to reopen. So maybe the openings of the locations were not as exciting or as timely as we thought they would be, but over the past few months, those have come back and gotten to see guests start using them again. So where I feel things are starting to lead to is definitely in the past month, maybe past even a few weeks. I've been getting a lot more calls from clients on the Strip. A lot more people are talking about their capital budgets for 2021. Many of them are coming to us with ideas of, what can we do? This time of year has always been when capital improvement projects start to get their inception and people start to pitch ideas. And so I feel like this year, it's actually no different. I've been having meetings almost every day now and seeing ideas from executives that, they're going to be fighting for their dollars within their companies along the Strip. And so I think that's good news for us. I mean, I think that there's a time and an effort and, I guess a light at the end of the tunnel here coming. And that's where I feel like hopefully if we can gain some momentum and what we're trying to do is, push to get those design dollars at the forefront so that we can get, the engineers, the consultants with us all going and then turn it over to the rest of you and the products and, contractors and everything down the road. So, I I think I've always been an optimist. And I feel like we are still in that time period, and I think we're getting towards some of this where we're seeing more work coming to us, and so I'm excited about it. It is a busy time, and I'm curious to hear if there's any questions or comments about some of this right now.
So I'll start us off. Hopefully that'll engage others to come forward with their questions. So, James, BWA being a hospitality-focused designer, what has been some of the major changes really now post-pandemic? Because, I would imagine from a certain perspective, your thought process has changed of what was pre-pandemic to what's current pandemic to now what's going to be post-pandemic when you're designing.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because it's a great question, Lee. We did with AIA a design charrette about what is design going to be post-pandemic, and I think in the beginning of all of this, back in March and April, when we started that concept and idea, we thought, okay, we're going to be through this in a couple months, and it's what is going to be the minor impact on design? And okay, well, maybe we'll have some new HVAC requirements. Maybe we'll have some new hand washing requirements. We're going to put more sinks and more touchless equipment on the doors and bathrooms, and that's just the way it's going to go. I think what we learned from that charrette, and also just kind of in discussions with clients now, is that people are unsure of what we're going to make changes to. There's an idea of how much of this do we put in permanency, and we've got barriers in restaurants and plastic dividers at all of our counters in supermarkets and stuff. And is that really where we are going to continue to go, and are we going to start building those into design moving forward, or there's still a sense and a resistance, I would say, on the hospitality side from ownership to make this very permanent. I think there's hope and optimism on their side that we're going to get through this and we're going to go back to kind of where we were, and we can take all that stuff back down and we can move on. I think the challenge with new projects is how much of this are we going to build in permanently and actually force design changes. Obviously there's occupancy requirements that have been changed in this pandemic in restaurants and gathering together, and how close can people sit. Are we going to focus the new restaurants and new meeting facilities on these lower requirements? And then what happens if things do get better and there are some locations that are able to go back to, say, the pre-pandemic occupancies? Are all of a sudden now we've created stuff that now needs to be retrofitted to accommodate this other design? So I think it's very challenging. I think no one knows the answer right now. I do say that from my discussions that I've had with executives on the hospitality side, they are not yet embracing making permanent changes. And I think that's just where it's at, because I think they look at what they currently have in terms of facilities and square footages, and when you think about, gosh, if I'm going to change all that, what a daunting task. And now I'm going to have to spend capital on retrofitting versus capital on these new things that I really wanted to do. So I think that's kind of where I see this, and I think it's going to be a hard sell with clients and making these changes. So that's a good question.
Thanks, James.
Hey, James, could I, if you wouldn't mind, if I could question to kind of follow up on. You had said that you've been beginning to have discussions with some of the hospitality clients on a high level, like 20,000 foot level. Like, what kinds of projects are being contemplated now in this kind of nebulous time?
So, there are still retro or remodels and projects that they had contemplated before that I'm seeing kind of come back around. And I think, there's a lot of stuff going on in this town. Obviously, there's Caesars and El Dorado were making a merger, and that has kind of solidified. So there was a lot of stuff that we had done work with that group and Caesars for a while. They kind of put that on hold until all that passed, and now they're through that. So we're getting calls from them about projects that they had on the list and in the radar to do. There are other clients that we have heard about on the Strip that are looking at still new construction. So there is still ideas of new construction out there, and some of that I think is the idea that there was this time period that obviously everything's shut down, which gives an opportunity for someone new to come in and take up some of the market share. I'm not involved in Circa, but obviously you can look at that as a great example of them rushing to get to the finish line here, because while things are slow and things are at a reduced capacity, what a perfect time to get into the market and start to gain momentum and build up some new clients and get that chance to pull people away. We always have a hard time opening a resort when everything else is going 100% capacity, and you say, come on, come to us. So I mean, this is great. I mean, Resort World, I think, too, is doing the same thing in the sense of get us to the finish line, because as things build back up and come back online, like, we want to be there, and we're going to be the new one. And there's people that are going to be willing to make those jumps over to other places at that point. So it's helped in other aspects where I think we might not have been looking at that in the past. So
great, thank you for that.
Right.
Hey, James, this is Chris Barker. I was wondering, you've given us a kind of lay of the land. I know certainly in the Las Vegas area and the Nevada area, but reaching out beyond, you guys have tentacles that reach out beyond, and you have your business takes you across the pond. But basically, you'd mentioned Caesars and El Dorado. What is your sense for the startup beyond Las Vegas?
So I think right now we have seen RFPs and stuff coming in from obviously on our hospitality side. We have Indian Native American gaming. We have seen RFPs for new casinos or for remodels at some of these other facilities. Caesars is a good example. Again, they have in their merger, there was a lot of requirements to build in infrastructure and put back money into Atlantic City. So there's upcoming work that we know of that's happening across the country on the Atlantic City side to those facilities. So we're looking into how to get involved in those projects. I think the biggest challenge we have now as architects is obviously the amount of work has diminished overall. And so everyone in every firm is saying, okay, how do I diversify and how do I get into all these other things that I have not done before? So obviously our specialty is hospitality, casinos, restaurants, nightclubs, but we're looking into multifamily. We're looking into, can we get into any type of, public work? So if we're doing that, everyone else is doing that too. And I think that's where we're starting to get challenged, because there's so many people now going after RFPs. They may be building teams of consultants that have some experience, but they may be looking at it in terms of, well, we're a fresh view, we're a fresh side to this, where you know, the teams you had before, you know, we can offer something different. So I think that's where it's challenging for everyone now, because what I'm seeing in my peers is that we're all going out to as many things as we can, which is just making it more difficult for owners, and there's a lot more competition now in terms of, you know, getting these projects. The good thing though is that these RFPs are coming in more frequently, and we are seeing them at least cross our desk more now than 3 months ago. I mean, it was very quiet, and I think this is a good thing, and this is what's very hopeful for us. So
Good.
Hey, James, our CFO.
yeah.
I have a question. So how are you guys handling COVID internally? Are you guys still working remotely? And do you guys, or for those maybe who are working in the office, do you guys allow reps to come in?
Yeah, so for the most part, most of our team are working remotely. We've continued that since the March time, and we do have some people that go in. I probably split 50% of my time at home and 50% of the time in the office. Obviously, connection at the office and access to files and printing is just much easier to do versus remotely. I mean, you can only go so far working remotely. We have some of the team that is mainly on the design side that has been going in, again, because the locally working on design programs is much easier than trying to remote in. It seems to be slow, it's glitchy, it's just a challenge. So in those situations, obviously with our office space, we're able to distance people apart. And, you know, if we ever have to get together, or if we're talking together, we put the masks on, and you know, we've kept the doors closed at the front, and really just kind of, I think we have one of those Ring doorbells now and stuff. So if people come by, you know, we can address it, but we're kind of keeping our own little self-contained bubble as it is. We have been, I know, going out to sites. So if there's things under construction and stuff, we follow protocol. Most of these casinos operators have their own checks in place, so we have to follow theirs, plus whatever you know, additional protection that we've been asking our teams to do. So so overall, it's been okay. You know, it's different, but you know, it seems to be still working. So. Yeah.
Hi, yeah, this is Ken Bavara. I work with James, and I can attest to that. I've been home since March in California. I actually live in California, so it has been working out very well. I've done like 2 or 3 projects working on one with the team, and there's been no problem whatsoever. So it's been a very pleasant experience, actually. So, but it works. It's been working.
Excellent.
Well, if any other questions? I have some other stuff I want to go through with you guys.
I have
if you have a
one
chance.
quick question, James. I have one quick question.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is John Dumastel. I'm in San Diego, California, and I cover your market. So I haven't unfortunately been out there due to travel restrictions since February. But what is the mood on the Strip? Are occupancies obviously really impacted? Is it sorting, you know, returning to normal a little bit?
So, yeah. So I think, hopefully you're not hearing my dogs bark in the background. So I think you see a couple different things. One, if you're watching news or social media, you're going to see a lot of challenges that we're having on the Strip right now. And there's a lot of fights or people riding scooters in the middle of the roads. And like, there's that whole side of things. From the hotel and operator side, we are seeing the occupancies are going up. Normally in this time period, the weekday occupancy though is filled by convention goers. So that is the biggest challenge. There are some of the properties, Planet Hollywood, I know for sure, they are opening the hotel, I think, Thursday to Monday. So hotel rooms can only be booked during that time period. The casino and main floor levels are open 24/7 though, the whole week. So that works for Caesars and their kind of group of hotels, because obviously they have enough rooms and they can spread people out. For individual resorts, I'd probably say like Wynn Encore, my understanding is I think they're shutting down one of the towers during the weekday, so they'll transition people to maybe one of the towers, and then if they have the capacity or have the need on the weekends, they kind of reopen a second tower. That way, you know, their labor costs are a little bit reduced and not having to spread people out throughout the whole resort. So we have seen, based upon some of the friends I have that are on the operations side, that bookings as we go later into the year are definitely going up. You know, the holidays tend to still be very popular. A lot of people are coming definitely from California, Arizona that are driving in. You know, I think the airports are still a little slow, and that's what we're seeing. But if you go and visit the properties and you kind of drive through the parking garages or parking lots, you see a lot of people that are able to drive here and get here in a short distance time period. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Great. Well, as Randy and Lee mentioned, next year I'm stepping into the AIA Las Vegas president role. And so I'm very honored to have this opportunity to speak to many of the allied members. And I want to kind of tell you what we've got going on next year. Hopefully this is something exciting for you guys as well, because the theme for next year is really about synergistic architecture. And that's really about, hey, it takes all of us to build things and to do architecture and to actually come up with, you know, a resulting building that an environment that people can live and use it. So each month we're going to focus on one of our different committees. We have 11 committees. Allied member is actually one of those. And really we're going to try and bring everyone together and focus on these different aspects and these different groups that help us move our strategic plan forward. We're going to continue the first part of the year with virtual member meetings, and actually I have some good information, and I think we're gonna pull some more of this together. But virtual member meetings have actually had some really good attendance. One of them, we had 68 attendees. Of those, 38 attendees were AIA, FAA, and one AIA Emeritus. But those also represented 28 different companies, which I think is a great thing. And I think that's something I really want to put out there to you guys to know that, you know, I think in the past we've had some challenges when we have member meetings in person, and it's hard to get people from different offices downtown early to do the social event and then have the member meeting, and then it runs so long that you know, we kind of lose traction with some people and they head home. So the member meetings, I think next year we're going to continue as the virtual, but we're going to keep them to our educational hour. We're going to make these our educational points. What I want to bring back or bring to this though are social events that are really going to hopefully be the focus for our allied members, and get time together with our AIA members. I'm hoping to do these rather than in just one location, that maybe, you know, someone has a showroom they are willing to host them a happy hour event at, and you know, that may be on the Summerlin side. The next month maybe we'll go down to Water Street and we'll, you know, pick a coffee bar and we'll get together for an hour and stuff. I want to get them all across the town, because that is a challenge. You know, when you do something at 5 or 6 o'clock, If you're thinking, gosh, I have to drive all the way across town to get there, what time am I leaving? I'm leaving early. It just becomes a hassle. And that's where I'm really wanting to do something that hopefully gets more of our allies and our members together. And they're fun events. You know, make these the fun times to socialize. I think once you start combining things with the fun with the education, that's when we start losing people. They start to drop off. So, so with that, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I mean, and ideas, and I'm open to any ideas as well as we pull this together for next year. So if we do run out of time and someone has an idea, please feel free, email me or go through Lee or Randy. I mean, I'm looking forward to lots of ideas and how to bring our allies together with our members. The comment?
No, I like the idea of to be able to participate like that, the kind of the hybrid approach between online, but also interjecting a little bit of being social. We're kind of starved for that right now. So
yeah,
I think it's a great idea.
I have a question. Hi, James. Lori Lee with
Hi, Lori.
Innova Technologies, structural engineers. On your committees, is there pretty good representation from the allied members involved in your committees?
I don't think so, and I'm looking to Randy. I know you can't tell that I'm actually looking for her. But, I think that, so I'm gonna give this first as a general thing. I was ignorant in terms of what committees were before I really joined AIA and really got involved in you know, on this path to become the president. I thought committees were you know, a few of the board members that got together and just talked about ideas and we're trying to move things forward on our strategic plan. Committees are really, I guess, focus groups of members that, and they could be guests, that have a common goal and common theme that they want to move towards. I think that's where we've kind of failed in the past, is not getting that out there to the membership that, hey, if you have an interest, we probably have a committee that you would fit on. And, you know, our committees are meant to get people together and to have these common interests. And again, next year I want each month to focus on one of them where, you know, we are able to use kind of the resources from the AIA chapter to bring in speakers that not only will help that committee, but also educate the rest of the membership. You know, we should all be sharing in these resources. We should all be sharing in the knowledge and gaining knowledge in these various areas. You know, over the past few years, we've had themes that, you know, the following year the theme changes and we seem to have lost momentum on the one before. My goal is, you know, this year with the 2030 initiative, you know, we can still continue that next year. We have a COAT committee, committee on the environment that, you know, that is still part of their mission and their strategic plan. So when the month comes up that we focus on that, you know, we can at least remind everyone and get people involved in that. So as this gets rolled out, it was really just announced to the board yesterday, the whole theme and kind of getting it started. As it gets rolled out the rest of the year and you're going to start to see more and more information, you know, I'm going to really put an emphasis on what the committees are and how people can get involved. I'm going to challenge each of the committee chairs to gain membership. I mean, that's really what we want to do. And then we're going to do a lot of kind of cross utilization where each of the groups gets together with others to help the cause move forward. So
Great.
So in terms of your question, I know I didn't really answer it. I don't know actually where we are on membership of allies in our committees, but I'm going to guess it's probably pretty low.
Okay.
We are moving in the right direction with our committees. You know, they have always been the working arms of the chapter. They just haven't been working hard enough. So as we move into 2021, and already this year, we've made a lot of progress. As James said, there are 11 committees. It's a wide range of interests, and all of them support the strategic plan and move the chapter forward. With regard to how many allied members we have, it depends upon the committee. And people who find out about, you know, what, oh, there's a committee that I would be interested in. Women in Architecture, we have members of that committee that across the board, architects, allied members,
Yeah.
all who are interested, all women who are in the business of the profession. The Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee has just been started. It has a lot of interest of people who want to work in that area. As he said, the Code Committee, perfect for supporting climate change and all of the areas that we need special focus on. Also, our government affairs. You know, next year is a legislative year, and we want to pay attention to what is what's happening in Carson City, so that's essential. But yes, there's plenty of room for architect and allied members to work together on those committees to achieve our goals. And you know, everyone is welcome. There's a job for everyone. So. Thank you.
So short answer, Lori Lay, come join us. That's the simplified answer. Yes, come join us. Well, with that, I want to be respectful with everybody's time. Certainly want to thank our sponsors, Terp and
Bombard.
Bombard, thank you. I had a list right here. Terp and Bombard, thank you very, very much, our sponsors. I want to thank our guest speaker, James. Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for spending 30 minutes with us this morning, and we definitely look forward to 2021 in your year of presidency, and look forward to supporting and continuing your success. With that, I wish everybody a great day, stay safe, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you, James. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.